Hey you guys, it's your girl T, and I want to go ahead and shout out Abigail. I think I'm going to post this video on both of my channels, on Lovelyti 2002 and Lovelyti 2013, because I know a lot of you guys either don't know about both channels or only subscribe to one or the other. But I feel like this is a very important message, and I want both of my channels to get this message. Abigail sent me a request last night, and I had no where this was going on. I don't know if she's in Chicago or not. But she was like, do you know that Tyshawn Lee's father was just arrested for shooting 3 people? And when she told me that, literally my heart sunk. It sunk. If you guys have not watched my 2 videos that I did on the whole Tyshawn Lee situation on my Lovelyti News Network channel, I talked about this 3 months ago. And me and one of my subscribers, his name is Swift Junk, we were in the comments section and we basically almost prophesized this. And it breaks my heart that everything we said in that comment section 3 months ago has come to pass. And first of all, let me go ahead and show you guys the news clip. Let me go ahead and show you guys what happened to little Tyshawn Lee, because the details have come out. So I want you guys to watch that news clip. Then I want you guys to go ahead and watch the news clip of Tyshawn Lee's father being arrested for attempted murder. Check these 2 videos out and I'm going to come back with the rest of my commentary.
Corey Morgan stated that since his brother was killed and his mother had been shot, he was going to kill grandmas, mothers, and children. Morgan, Doty, and another uncharged co-defendant were all members of the Black Peace Stones, and they began going out daily, armed with guns, looking to retaliate. At one point, Doty set up a surveillance of Tyshawn's grandmother so he could kill her in order to draw out rival gang members. He also stated that his original plan was to torture this child by kidnapping and cutting off his fingers and his ears. On November 2nd, 2015, Doty and the same 2 co-defendants were seeking further gang retaliation when they arrived at Dawes Park at 80th and Damon. They eventually saw 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee, who was in the play lot at the park. Tyshawn had gone to the swing set his basketball down, and was playing on the swings. Morgan and the 3rd defendant left the play lot and drove away in an SUV, and Doty stayed behind in the playground area. Doty then picked up Tyshawn's basketball and began dribbling it a few times before giving it back to Tyshawn. He then asked the child if he wanted to go to the store. When Tyshawn said he didn't have any money, Doty told him he would buy him whatever he wanted. Tyshawn and Doty were then seen walking off together out of the park and into a nearby alley. Once they reached the middle of the alley, Doty took out a gun and shot Tyshawn multiple times at close range. This defendant was facing the child when he shot him. He later made statements that he had, and I quote, "seen that go in his head. And Shorty, he was like he couldn't take it no more. Shorty couldn't take it no more," unquote. This defendant also later stated that after he murdered Tyshawn, he wanted to go back to the park and shoot it up. The police, unfortunately, the police were already there, and he couldn't go back, and he should have killed all the kids in the park. This defendant also stated that he had been working on a rap song in which he talks about his killing of Tyshawn Lee. As you know, I have been a prosecutor here in Chicago for nearly 30 years, and I've tried hundreds of cases involving senseless gang violence and gang-related homicides on the streets of Chicago that involved unspeakable acts of rage and violence. But I must tell you today, I don't think I've ever been more disgusted and appalled by such inhumanity. This intentional murder of Tyshawn Lee is among the worst that I have ever seen in my almost 30 years as a prosecutor. When we have predators running around on our streets, pledging to kill grandmas and mothers and children for nothing more than senseless gang retaliation, we have an unprecedented crisis on our hands. Today's charges are a very important step in working to bring justice for this innocent little boy, and our investigation continues as we speak here today.
In other news, the father of 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee is in custody tonight, charged in a triple shooting that happened last Tuesday on the South Side. WGN's Tyshawn Bradley is at police headquarters with details. Tyshawn?
Bob, good evening. Police say the cycle of violence continues. On Friday, they picked up Pierre Stokes, and he was charged with shooting the girlfriend of a man who was accused of murdering his 9-year-old boy. Another twist in the awful Tyshawn Lee saga. The boy's father, Pierre Stokes, has been arrested and charged in connection with a shooting last Tuesday. It appears it was a retaliatory hit. 2 men and a woman injured here in the 7900th block of South Ashland Avenue. Law enforcement sources say the woman is the girlfriend of Corey Morgan, who is awaiting trial in connection with 9-year-old Tyshawn Lee's murder. The gunfire erupted the same day prosecutors accused Dwight Boone Dowdy of bragging to a fellow inmate about the November 2nd execution of Lee. Authorities say the 4th grader was lured into an alley and murdered, a casualty of a gang war. Stokes is charged with 3 counts of aggravated battery with a firearm and 1 count of unlawful use of a weapon by a felon. In a statement, Chicago police said, Mr. Stokes, who was involved in a gang lifestyle, ultimately suffered an unspeakable loss with the calculated execution of his son. Despite this, he continued to engage in the same gang activity that started this initial cycle of violence. And police say these targeted strikes show the challenge confronting them. Stokes is expected in bond court tomorrow. We're live tonight at police headquarters on the South Side.
You guys just watched those 2 videos, and when I tell you everything that woman was reading about what these men confessed to, about how they planned to kill little Tyshawn, and you know how they shot him, like it just made my stomach just curl up. It made me sick to my stomach that people can be that evil that they would have no qualms about hurting somebody's child, okay? The reason why I want to talk about this video on both channels is that in the comments section, we discussed some really poignant topics. We talked about how people in the hood suffer from PTSD. A lot of people feel like PTSD only affects people at war. But when you live in a place like Chirac or, New Orleans, South Central LA, and a lot of these major cities where you have a lot of youth killing other youth, there's no counseling, there's no grieving process. And when I talked about that in that Tyshawn Lee video, when I said I was just really heartbroken because I felt like had somebody taken the case of the guy who killed Tyshawn Lee, had they taken his brother's murder seriously and his mother's attempted murder seriously, Tyshawn Lee might be here. You have a lot of very bitter, angry people out here, and they want to inflict as much hurt and pain onto others. I want you guys to read what I wrote back to Swift Junk 3 months ago. I said, Swift Junk, this comment is on point. I totally agree. I said this on Facebook as well. A lot of people don't realize that so many people in Chicago / the hood are suffering from PTSD. It's a war zone. But unlike war, when you see your fellow cadets killed in combat, there is therapy, there's grief counseling, there's debriefing. In the hood, we don't get that. It's just a bunch of slow singing and flower bringing. And after the crowds have left, you're left to pick up the pieces. While it's easy to demonize Corey, he was a man who probably lost the closest thing to him, his brother, and as well as almost losing his mom. That was enough to send him over the edge and put him on the revenge track. The system is always quick to react after the fact, but he should have gotten help for his grief as well. What Pierre and Carla Lee need to do is get grief counseling. Her spending money and going on trips is not going to help her grief. It's a temporary fix. Pierre not crying and bottling up his emotions is a powder keg waiting to blow. I hope they get the proper treatment and help that they need to deal with their grief. If not, it's only a matter of time before they hurt themselves or other people. That's what I wrote 3 months ago. And 3 months have passed since the death of Tyshawn Lee, and now his father has been arrested for attempting to kill 3 people, and one of those 3 people that he attempted to kill was Corey's girlfriend. the guy who killed his son, he attempted to kill the girlfriend to get back at him. So do you guys understand why I said that this is a cycle and it's a never-ending cycle until we treat this as a psychological issue and give people the needed counseling? You know, I see this go on all the time. Recently, my kid's cousin, you know, he was killed out here in the Twin Cities, and they literally had to talk his brother into not going out and retaliating. You know what I'm saying? Into not going out and killing other people. Like, these are like real conversations that people have when you grow up in the hood. You know what I'm saying? Like, you really have to sit and talk to your homeboys, like, you know, and weigh the good and bad. Okay, we understand you're upset. We understand you're hurt. But if you go out and seek revenge, you're going to be in jail too, or you might get killed. They might come after you. Like, these are real conversations that people don't talk about. You know what I'm saying? It's just really sad. Like, it just broke my heart to know that, you know, he just did not go out and try and get the help or get himself out of that situation. Him attempting to kill these 3 people are not going to bring back his son whatsoever. And now he's about to lose his freedom because he's already a felon. He was caught with a gun, and as a felon, you can't have a gun, and you're also being charged with attempted murder. So Tyshawn Lee's father at 25 years old, he's probably going to be locked up for the next 20 to 30 years. You know, so his life is basically over. Corey, who also did not get any type of grief counseling for his brother's death and his mother's attempted murder, is now going to be sitting in prison for life for killing Tyshawn Lee. So like I said, it's just a never-ending cycle. You know, you get one of mine, I get one of yours, but nobody wins. And even with all these tit for tats, none of these people resurrect themselves back from the grave. It doesn't bring back these people. You know, the whole situation to me is just real sickening. It's just really sad that this is how everything ended. And I broke everything down in that video 3 months ago. And I'm just sad that him and Lovelyti did not get themselves out that situation and just try and do better with that situation, do better for themselves. You know, take that platform that Tyshawn Lee blessed them with, because when that murder happened, the whole world was looking at the father and the mother. So they had a platform to make a change and to, you know, help people deal with the grieving process, but they chose not to do that. Instead, she chose to go shopping and go do her, and he chose to seek revenge. So the whole situation is just really sad and heartbreaking. So anyways, you guys, let's go ahead and get the discussion popping. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts on this entire situation. Once again, concerning Tyshawn Lee's father, Pierre, being arrested for attempted murder, and then also the details coming out about how Corey and them set up Tyshawn Lee to be killed. So the whole situation, like I said, is just, it's really nauseating and heartbreaking to see that this is how this chapter ended. So go ahead and leave a comment. All right. Deuces. Hey you guys, it's your girl T. Make sure to subscribe, like, and share my videos. You can also visit Lovelyti.com to purchase any merchandise. Also, don't forget to click the boxes down below to watch any of my previous videos. Talk to y'all later. Deuces.